Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Duncan Showroom for the Love of Words, our 18th birthday. Yay! Begun by our dear friend Longevity John back in 2007 at the original Duncan Garage showroom.
Right.
And we moved to, not yet young, but he's very eager. And he's champing at the bit. We moved to the Silver Bridge Inn. You'll remember, Bob. We had some poetry with drinks and rowdy patrons. And we closed that one down. We closed the garage down. And then we moved upstairs, didn't we, Doctor? The era of the Doctor. Upstairs and down here. 18 years. Amazing. So thank you all for coming, and thanks to all the readers and writers who've added to the years of frivolity and fun. Our first guest this evening. First we want to say hello to Longevity John. Hopefully you're doing well, John. Having his diaphragm reattached. Was that what it was? Yeah. Something like that, right? So his nose flute career no longer in jeopardy. That's good. Glad to hear that. And look forward to seeing you back in the showroom as soon as you can. This young fellow has been with us for many years, probably one of our longest supporters, I think. Robert, aren't you? Yes.
Yes, I don't remember the first night.
Way back. Well, what have you got to read for us this evening, sir?
Tonight, it's from the same book I used last time, which maybe didn't go down too well, but I picked a shorter one this time. Anyway, this man writes about, sort of everything all at once, but he pins it right down and looks at the little details. It's quite exciting to read. Anyway, this one you could call evolution. It starts way back at the beginning and it comes up to now. And we're in it. It's called XIX. This section has no titles at all. Just beneath the moss, the grass, the tree roots, and the intermittent fires is the bedrock of the ridge. That rumpled quilt of basalt pillows forming in a boiling, salt-free sea some ways away, some time ago. We call it bedrock, though it flows like everything else, just not as fast as water, air, or fire. In the last 80 million years, they say, this rock has crawled 3,000 miles along the seafloor and up perhaps a mile. Before that, it was liquid and crawled faster, a mile a day, maybe two, day after day, coming up from the core. But when it rose into the sea haze, not so far from here, 12,000 years ago, the weather had changed. Rock in the air was not rock in the water. The air and the things that breathe it were not what they were when the rock was born. And as it moved into the air, it also changed, and it became what we call here, as if it had never been anywhere else, as if this place had always been, as if there had always been a place you could call here, that you could touch with your own heart and mind and hand and say, I'm where I am. I'll find my way. I'm close enough. I'm close enough to home. There was no here. And then there was. Because when the rock rose into the air, the lichens and then the mosses, the grasses, ferns, and then the conifers moved in and nudged each other into place until they made themselves at home. Saxifrages, sparrows, spiders, crane flies, ants and spider wasps and orchids, squirrels, red-legged frogs, tree frogs, mice and wolves and deer and black bear, wandered in and made themselves at home. And Homo, sapiens, came and made itself at home, about as much as it knows how to. Yes, and then kept right on coming without knowing what home is or what you have to do to have one. Humans, like ants and mice and deer, like to make trails, and they then meander up and down them. They make the trails over land and over water. They make trails on the shared and unshared landscapes of the mind. We are still walking some of the trails humans made when they first came here, because trails are joint ventures made by walkers and the land, swimmers and the currents, ideas passing through the speech of speaking beings. So you find them, where they are and have to be, and then they take you where they can. Then came the ones who made the roads, who also kept on making roads, who cannot cease from making roads, who wear our names and hands and faces, who are what we have become. The way the spider can become stepmother to the wasp. Had a lot of cheerful poems in it, this book. Okay, thank you.
Oh, that's it for you? Just the one? Thank you, sir.
Oh, I can do another one if you run out of time.
Well, you could do one now. Do you want to do one?
Okay.
We don't have to unseat you then again.
Okay. You can have a discussion while I get this one. It's not very far. Then came the one that made the roads. Oh, different topic.
Do you need your light again?
Yep.
Okay. The clip-on.
This is a very cool,
That's a great light.
right? Because you can put it on the left-hand side, and that still means you can flip pages without moving it up in the air. Okay, this is for all you language people. Sort of pondering about what life is and what language is, and so it's called Life Poem. And first, the opens up. Life is language. Life is language, I wanted to say. Only problem, it isn't. Not language exactly, not language as such, not a particular language either, though it has a lot to say. In fact, no end of things to say. And life can listen through the cracks, as every language needs to do. Is it something like a language, a metaphor for language? Or is language a metaphor for it? Of course. But more like many languages than one. Like what we call a language family, which is to say a swarm in time which the living keep on dancing with the dead, because the dead keep flying close beside the not yet born. If it were the one and only living language, life wouldn't be alive, or not for long. But swarms are acrobats in time. They grow, shrink, dodge, faint, scatter, reform. They have the ears and wings to do so. Ears to communicate a halfway disembodied mind. Life heard us coming, and will be here watching closely, hungry, wary, wounded, wordless, like the snakes of Fukushima and the lynxes of Chernobyl, when we go. But will not speak of us, or curse us, or have any name to give us when we're gone. Life has been married to language so long that you might think the two could finish or begin each other's somersaults and sentences. They don't. It only seems as if they do. Why? Life is being discovering speech, which is to say, being discovering being. Is language being discovering life? It might be so. Which does not mean that speech and being are the same. You're watching this closely, I guess. Language is a sign of life, like swimming, a form of life, like eels. But it's not a way of living. It's also not the life that anything lives, not even ideas. Your life is not a language, and your language isn't life. Yet, languages of some kind, nucleic and behavioral, for instance, are everywhere you listen, look, or you rest your empty hand among the living. Unspokenness is not life either, but it too can be a sign of life, just not where there's no hope of being spoken. Your speechlessness might mean you've dodged or leapfrogged death and come in the desert of words or the sea of language to an island or an oasis of not speaking. The sun's chance in that great celestial darkness is a snowball's chance in hell. But there it is. And there, impossibly farther off, getting farther, are the 100 billion galaxies of others, younger and older, larger and smaller. Not forever, no, but yes, for the entire past and future, and for now. And this bit at the end here. And so, a language not yet spoken, or not yet written, not yet thought, it is caught or not between the carbon and the hydrogen, the life elements, the phosphorus and sulfur, and the rest of the short list of what we are, and maybe everybody is. And there it learns, or not, to write, and to sing, and to talk. In times, the ones who carry it and feed it start, or not, to hear what's sung, what's said, to read what's never more than partly written, and to talk to what they hear, to say yes and yes, but, and no, and more than that, and more than that. But acrobat or not, when you have drowned out, hollowed out, and starved out every language you could find, your own included life and death are left. Sorry, every language you could find, your own included. Life and death are left with nothing more to say to you, and no choice but to say it. Softly at first, in no language at all, so softly and so plainly, so clearly you might also try at first to say it could not possibly be you that they are talking and not talking to. That's all I got.
Thank you, Bob. Excellent.
Alan?
We appreciate you coming out to share with us.
Love to be here. Yeah. This is pretty comfy.
It's pretty comfy. You could adjudicate.
Everybody good. Yes.
I had several things created with the inspiration of my dear friend who was traveling abroad and in the deeper how would they refer to India in the old days? The subcontinent? It's not part of the Orient, but it's the subcontinent. Anyway, it was more like a conversation, wasn't it? The inspiration of someone traveling and a dear friend that you're missing. And of course, I selfishly only printed out my part of the conversation, which is terrible, Mary, but I'll read them anyway, and hopefully it'll make sense. It might. This one I called Smart Women Fall Twice. The lights went down, the cello... Oh, hi. That's the doctor. With the LED clip-on light. Oh, nice. Perfect. Thank you. With your winter footwear. The lights went down, the cello vibrating between her knees. Oh, wait, that's another story. Well, after receiving tickets at work from Vicky... It's my sister. I can't get too far into that story. I thought, who the heck can I ask to go to the symphony? A classy dame, I hope. One who could pull off the symphony. Oh, do I know any classy dames? Well, Mary's in India. I've let the well run dry. No other classy dames on the Rolodex. I do a bizarre thing in text. Can't say the name. Who works at... Both her and her daughter have played for live Shakespeare, much like Mary. Dear girl, I think the anthropophists... How do you say that? Anthroposophists and the Catholics should get together. Steiner was a Christian after all, and eschewed a somewhat pantheistic spiritual bent, natural medicines, etc. Anyway, it was a shot in the dark. We'd barely ever spoken, but one of those women I've always admired, as in, boy, if I ever get my shit together. But you never know what someone's like as they're waiting for a manly man or someone with biceps or... Even beautiful, intelligent women fall for bohunks. The manly testosterone drivers. It's true, isn't it? See?
Truly Canadian.
Truly Canadian. He's got to be wearing a plaid shirt. And anyway, I can't read the rest of that one because I It involves local characters. Excuse me. Carry on. Okay. I just realized I can't out these two people. Mary's here, but thank you, St. John. Mary sent me a poem, what was the poem called, Mary? The St. Jean. I went in, I know not where, which I read last month. And it was a great, wonderful poem, and one which I need to read several more times to really get the depth of it. But this is my thank you to St. Jean. Thank you, St. Jean, for the fruit of love through chaste eyes. Is it the true way? I walk the sidewalks in the morning and greet people hello. Many walk eyes down and are pleased to be greeted, to be seen. That is the tree, recognizing the intertwining of beings, all related, all moving about the same orb, unless it's a wobbly waffle. That is love, kindness, human sharing, decency, opening doors, like an apple, that reliable fruit, many varieties, always satisfying. You can bake them in a pie. I love you, hollers the apple. The apple is the tree. But why was knowledge dangerous? I always go back to the garden because I'm confused. Can we love without proper knowledge? For intimate love, we think of the peach, that's from a man, seeking solace from the rigors of life. The soft colors, the red, pink, white, the intimate shadings of a woman. She's got a bottom like a peach. We are called by signals innate. Attraction, we boil it for jam, for lusty biscuits and pie, and devour. Such need for longing, for beauty and comfort, satisfaction. That horrible self-thirst, surely not holy, that one time. It's time for Lent, I think. What about a pineapple? That's the whole family, warm in the sun, familial love. We hope bits don't go bad. We stay connected, appreciating the differences. Where the sun strikes, where the shade develops quieter contemplation. Poets, I'm convinced, need shade by the river. The peach in the shade by the river, sun-dappled, not drunk. Lying with the elixir of love. Is it water or is it wine? The blueberries, surely, like the children, so many of them, we scream excitement at parties and run about the house rolling off countertops. Some are squished on the floor and are still good for the pies. Kids who are loved, gazed upon, reflection devices for the aging. Don't let them grow up too fast. It's a blueberry time machine. The glass is stained in rainbows as sun breaks through. You are sitting on the living room floor in a sunbeam, warming raspberries on the vine. You can see the vine, but you are not eating raspberries right at the moment. In this moment, this sunbeam, time stands still. Your little knees, bruised in the orchard at rest. You are not thinking, just being. And all fruit is love, held softly in hands. Big hugs. All right. That might have made sense. And this one, for the many Dutch people who are here tonight, I think there's at least two of you. We know Marta and Mary. Anybody else Dutch? Just two of you? Okay. You were part Dutch? No, I think you probably were. Yeah. All right. This is called Dutch Cookies. Love was 1980 in the old country, the Holland, des Nederlander. On a junket from my first big adventure in the British Isles, my brother-in-law Ronald was still alive. He was a real boarding school survivor, an art restorer. He had a pedigree from the Tate Gallery. He and my sister Terry would go adventure work holidaying in Scotland, say, an old castle, where someone put their foot through a dally at a party or some such, and Ronald would painstakingly repair the painting as they holed up in some drafty, tiny castle room. Can you imagine it? You can almost smell the sheep shit coming in the door on the Lord's boots. But anyway, I went to Holland. The World Handicap Games were in Arnhem. Were you competing, Bill? That's what Mark would say. Very funny. As a youth, I had volunteered with a family friend at the Brantford School for the Blind, running as an assistant in cross-country races. Some great muddy spills down the hills. Bill, can you imagine the bravery of a blind person to grip someone's arm and go racing off through the woods, over hill and dale, relying on verbal cues for footing? We didn't always come last, I say. My guy was very tenacious. Anyway, so knowing I was over home, John suggests I pop over to Holland and hang out for the games. 2 days in Amsterdam off the boat. No hookers, I swear, but definitely hashish and sleeping in the park and visions. Dutch visions. All the wow wow feels and odd smells of a foreign city. I took the train to Arnhem. I read the big plaque, how the Canadians helped liberate Holland. I'm a descendant of heroes, just again, like I experienced on Crete, where the farmers hailed us Canadians and wanted to keep me for the orange harvest and Greek shepherding fun. But Holland, who can, you got that, did you? Who can save a country where they wear wooden shoes? I don't know. I find a gymnasium, but not my Canadian connection for the first night. So I wander into the city and find a lovely park, spreading my drop sheet out at dusk and eating Dutch cookies. Here is the love, I thought, wandering through streets and sitting in a park on a crescent, a bit like the one where I grew up in Brantford. All the curtains open as lights come on, inviting the eyes to peruse the lovely living rooms. Look at my homes, it says. Isn't it beautiful? It takes me back to my teen years, bicycling around the city late at night, wondering at the lives behind curtained windows. I slept asleep in the park, but wake early, a woman coming out her door and yelling at me in Dutch. At first I wonder if she's inviting me in for tea. But no, I could tell she wants me the hell out of the park. Vagrants, ruining her beautiful landscape. But that is love, perspective, yearning, Dutch cookies, dreaming of other lives. Okay. Mary, can you help me with this last one? This was my idea, so I hope Mary doesn't mind it. And I thought this was a special poem because having a dear friend traveled to a... She's not moving. Oh, like yeah, could you? Would you mind? Having a dear friend traveled to a foreign country and, not to give away personal details, but knowing she had to make peace with Paris. And then she sent me this. That's all I'll say. She had to make peace with Paris. And I just thought it would be fun to read this poem in both languages because... Oh, that's the idea. See? Okay.
By the way, the first one that Bill read, I just asked him one question because we were having an argument. Not an argument.
Again?
No, it was very friendly. I would drop off when I didn't know what to say and he would just wait. But yeah, he was complaining about why we can't have the knowledge, why it's so bad, and talking about fruit and knowledge all like very esoteric. And then I just asked the question, well, if love were a fruit, because we got from knowledge to love.
Right.
How would it taste?
Oh, God, I never
And then he went off, and it was so great. And he talked about pineapples and blueberries, and they were so delicious. And I thought, that's why I love that guy, even though he's crazy and he makes me crazy when we have to work together. We don't work together very well. But we apparently, I asked good enough questions to get him to write really cool stuff. What
I
am
never
I
really
doing?
did answer the taste,
No.
though. To give the taste of love. That's a tricky one. Isn't it? I went off.
Maybe you'll have to write another poem.
Ew. So anyway, this is, I was so happy that Mary sent this one, hopefully meaning that you did. Have you made your peace with Paris? Do you really feel?
No, I've made
No.
my peace with France. I
all of
finished it
France.
off with a double ice cream cone that was green and purple. Sliced lavender and pistache, and it was delicious. Okay.
Okay, you going to do it from your phone? I have it written here if you want it.
Oh.
There's
okay.
the first and
Yeah,
whatever
sure.
is easier.
Either way.
Okay.
But you go for it. You go for it.
Oh, so I'm going to read one verse in English. You were going to do one in French and then back and forth?
This is embarrassing. It's not really poetry. It was just for you on the plane because I was drinking.
Did you write this?
Yeah, when I was on the plane. Because they give you so much booze on the French.
This
Air
is a
France.
good poem. What do you mean? Why are you embarrassed?
Ok. Chère France, chère la France, je t'aime. Je t'aime parce que tu es le sang du vent, du pain.
Dear France, I love you. I love you because you have a sense for wine, for bread.
You translated this. Oui, avec le beurre aussi, d'un croissant croustillant, dans un paddle pour le pain, avec le vent et l'eau.
Yes, with butter too, in a crispy croissant, or in a pudding, for the bread with the wine and the water.
I meant puddle, but that's okay.
Oh.
Toujours le pain, le vent, l'eau.
Always bread, wine, water.
C'est magnifique, ordinaire, extraordinaire à le même temps.
It's magnificent, ordinary and extraordinary at the same time.
It's not very poetic.
Shh.
Et oui.
Read your damn
Le
poem.
frisé aussi sur le vent et l'eau.
And yes, frisé too on the wine and water.
Like the sparkly, bubbly stuff. Pour faire chaque jour, chaque repas une fête.
To make every day, every meal a celebration.
Avec bubbles et la joie.
With bubbles and joy.
Et la capacité et l'inspiration de manger lentement.
And the ability, the inspiration to eat slowly.
Plus lentement. En luxuriance.
More slowly in abundance.
I meant luxuriance.
Okay.
Parce que pourquoi non?
Because why not?
Pourquoi non savourer chaque expérience, le bon et le mal?
Why not? Savor every experience, the good and the bad.
Comme une expérience qui dit
Like an experience that says,
je suis en vivre,
I am alive.
je souffle, je ris, je crie, j'existe.
I breathe, I laugh, I scream, I exist.
Not scream, just cry.
Cry.
I don't really scream, not very often. I've screamed at you a couple times, but mostly cry. Et ça, c'est un don. Ça, c'est un vrai don.
And that is a gift. That is a true gift.
Oui, je mange le pain, je vois le vent, l'eau,
Yes, I eat the bread, I see the wine, the water.
et je dis
And I
merci,
say,
oh mon Dieu, merci, mon Seigneur, pour le pain et le
thank
vin.
you. Okay. Thank you, oh my God. Thank you, my Lord, for the bread and the wine,
Pour votre pain, votre vin, votre présence parmi nous.
for your bread, your wine, your presence among us.
Chaque jour, chaque moment, je te remercie pour tout ça.
Every day, every moment, I thank you for all of this. I think it's a beautiful poem.
Really?
Yeah, why you...
All those things, it's like
scrunching up her
journaling
nose.
stuff that you end up, I always end up, like having a glass of wine and then everything's just, I just want to say merci, merci beaucoup. And that's the end of it. It's so
I think it's a beautiful poem.
repetitive.
I think it's terrible that I read a Google translation that was wrong.
I love it. But
That's
take out the
cheating.
screaming.
Yes. I'm going to thank you for that, your inspiration and your beautiful poem. And I'm going to leave you to the stage so you can be you. And we don't have to be Tauruses
Together.
together.
Be gone, fellow.
Mary.
I love your stripes and your haircut. And your French accent. So, I don't have anything prepared. I don't think I ever do. But I start thinking about what's going on, and it doesn't seem to matter what the mood is, because when I hear different people say what their thoughts, it changes and it moves like a river anyway. And all I needed was Dutch Girl's wooden shoes. And I thought, right, gezellig. That's the thing. That's the thing. Because gezellig is a very special word. And I was thinking just yesterday, I slept a lot, but I woke up and at one moment, I was at my mom's house because I can't go home yet. So I stayed at my mom's, and she looks after me and makes it all sweet. And I looked at my little brother, who's a lot bigger than me, but he's very young, in his 20s. And he was sitting there, we were having coffee. And I said, the nicest thing about mom, she's really entertaining. She's the most entertaining person I've ever met. You never know what she's going to be into next, right? So I came home like, hey, what's up? She's like, I've been sleeping on the floor. Oh, that's nice. Are you going to sleep on the floor with me? I don't have much option, really, do I? Because you're in the living room on the floor now. Why? What's going on? So she started doing this 3 years ago. She's super ecstatically, fantastically happy about it. Wants to tell me all about it. And Samuel, my brother, looks at me. He's like, she's also really into miso soup. And I think we're going to be eating sushi for Christmas, really. So it's like a whole Japanese thing. And I thought, oh, yeah. She's done all the other cuisine that I can think of. It must be, that's next. Okay. So my mom, in that weird, unpredictable kind of way, also is that predictable gezellig. And I thought about, because you were saying about the curtains being wide open and the Dutch cookies. And what I understand gezellig to mean is you have a very clean house and some lace curtains on the windowsill and definitely some little African violets on the windowsill, but not too many, just enough to be cozy, and hot coffee and cookies, and then everything's cozy and it's okay. And that's what my mom gave me this weekend because I really needed it. Like, I actually came home 1 week early because I couldn't stand where I was anymore. I was like, I'm so done. I'm exhausted. I need a bath. I'm going to see my mom. And then I did, and she was making everything gezellig, even though we had to sleep on the floor with the window. And the window in the living room is a sliding door, so it was wide open. It was really cold. And yet it was still cozy because it was my mom. So I guess that's an ode to cozy, and which is gezellig in Dutch. And I guess everyone has their own idea of it. And Pablo Neruda has his idea, which is, I never brought any socks with me on that trip. I had one little backpack, like a school backpack almost. But I was always hot, like there were 30 degrees everywhere. I just made sure I left northern countries by the time it was getting cold. And so I never needed my socks. I had sandals. But I came home and I had packed socks because I knew it would be November. And Pablo Neruda totally understands. He has an ode to my socks. Ode to his socks, but I'm going to read them. He says, ode to my socks. Maru Mori brought me a pair of socks, which she knitted herself with her shepherdess hands. 2 socks as soft as rabbits. I slipped my feet into them as though into 2 cases of knitted... Oh, it's missing a word, and I don't remember the missing word. Into 2 cases. Never mind. Knitted with threads of twilight and goatskin. Violent socks. My feet were 2 fish made of wool, 2 long sharks, sea blue, shot through by 1 golden thread, 2 immense blackbirds, 2 cannons. My feet were honored in this way by these heavenly socks. They were so handsome. For the first time, my feet seemed to me unacceptable. Like 2 decrepit firemen unworthy of that woven fire, of those glowing socks. Nevertheless, I resisted the sharp temptation to save them somewhere as schoolboys keep fireflies, as learned men collect sacred texts. I resisted the mad impulse to put them into a golden cage, and each day give them birdseed and pieces of pink melon, like explorers in the jungle who hand over the very rare green deer to the spit and eat it with remorse. I stretched out my feet and pulled on the magnificent socks, and then my shoes. The moral of my ode is this: beauty is twice beauty, and what is good is doubly good when it is a matter of 2 socks made of wool in winter. So, yeah, thanks to my mom and to those socks.
Marcus, come on. Mark has been coming since the early days of the Duncan Showroom, and may have met some of the other Corey Blades and Rich. Oh no, what was his friend's name? Damn it, I've forgotten. Anyway, we had a tribe then. This is a different tribe, isn't it, Mark?
Tribe.
Hockey team. Mm-hmm.
Hockey?
That's all right. It's not hockey. Sports boy tries to make analogy. How are you?
I'm Good.
Good. You know what I thought? Marcus hosted a couple times, and he's actually, when you get him in the right mood, he's a very astute interviewer. Do you remember that about yourself when you were interviewing people about their texts? And quite insightful, I thought.
One-on-one,
Mm-hmm. You're good at that.
I'm fabulous with.
Fabulous. Here he is.
It's hard to believe.
He's fabulous.
It's hard to believe. I have two things that I've written. One is reflecting upon a fellow who came down to the market this weekend, and the feelings that I was having as I was talking to him. So, this is called Denis. In his last days, it was as though I were looking at a rotting apple, and inwardly I felt a strong sense of revulsion, as though I might catch the cancer that was consuming his pancreas, leaving him with a sallow complexion. Outwardly, I wanted him to think that I was at ease when it was more the opposite. I wanted to run away, though I could not. I know death is coming. I watch silent movies, and the silence is telling since everyone is dead. The oldest person alive will be infinitely dead, which seems punitive. The word itself, dead, is lifeless, almost a doorstop. I think of that expression, don't let the door hit you on your way out. And this, I wrote this, I'm not sure when, but I stumbled upon it. I think I've read it once before, but just once. And I liked it. I sent it to Bill. Bill liked it, so here we are again. It's called The World Purports to Care for You. The world purports to care for you. It does not. You are one of billions, an incomprehensible number. Your success or lack of it has everything to do with your ability to weather indifference. Your death, if reported on the news at all, will be the briefest of footnotes. A tree cut in the forest and turned into toothpicks will have a better eulogy, more lasting suppers. You are not unique. I meet people like you all the time. I mean all the time. When I say all the time, I mean in the last 30 minutes. What is it? Sorry. What is it that makes you unique? Nothing. There is nothing that makes you unique. You have a great sense of humor, but who hasn't said some really funny things? I mean really funny. Adults say such amazing things. Everyone contradicts themselves. You think that's special? A mackerel is no more unique, not even, wait for it, a holy mackerel. You're so funny, you say. You make me laugh. I think maybe that's the punchline. It's the old guy who forgot to turn his cell phone off. Bob, shame on you. Fucker. That's it. Cheers.
Slap on the shoulder on the way by. Marta, come up, please. I think, Mark, that reminded me of the Dylan interview where somebody in the crowd yelled out, Judas, because he'd been playing electric, and he says, I don't believe you. And coming from a baker, that there's no singularity. Isn't each bun unique? Each loaf of vinatarda singular? No? I'm sure. No, come on up. I'm just talking until you get here. I'm sure you think they're all.
I think therein lies possibly the strength of the poem. I think the poem actually, in spite of everything it says there is something.
It does say there is singularity. Okay, I'm just confused. Welcome, Marta.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was just keeping a running dialogue, snappy chatter, till you got here. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. Thank you for coming back. We've really enjoyed your stories of childhood and your homeland, and we're happy. How long have you been in the Canada?
Tomorrow, 44 years.
Whoa, that's excellent.
With 3 crying children.
Right. You migrated with babies.
We got off the plane and they all cried.
Oh, that's very brave. Well, thank you for coming back. Can I put you a little closer to the mic?
Yeah, can you hear me or no?
Well, your voice is a little quiet. Just
Okay,
sorry, is that too uncomfortable?
I don't know. As long as you can hear me. Thank you for the word gezellig, Mary. You can't translate it. You might say it's cozy, but it's not the same. In Denmark, they have the same word. It's called hygge. It's also cozy, but it's not the same. And in Friesland, we call it noffelijk. It means very, very comfortable, but not too. So thank you for that. I've been working on my memoir again, and November brought back a memory from 2012. Something happened that year that still blows me away, and I don't know why it happened, so I thought I better write about it. I call it serendipity. One morning in November of 2012, the phone rang. It was Suzanne Brooks, owner of Gulliver's Quality Books and Toys in North Bay, Ontario. We have an author coming from the Netherlands visiting us tomorrow night, she said, and he's reading from his book, The War in the Corner. Will you and Albert join us? Because I don't have much time to advertise this event, and I thought you might be interested in the war story. Sure, we will come, I said. Well, and maybe he should stay overnight with you so he can speak Dutch. Yeah, he can stay here. And I quickly looked around my messy house. At least I had one day to straighten things out and get the spare bedroom ready. The spare bedroom is the room where we dump everything we don't need. A small group of interested customers joined Suzanne, Bernard, and their Dutch guest, Jan Braakman, the following evening at the bookstore. Jan told us how he had always wondered what had happened to his grandparents during the war. In a small town in the eastern part of the country, the Nazi occupation had left its wounds, and after the war, there was total silence. No one spoke about the atrocities the Germans had inflicted on the small population. He knew that his grandparents had hidden people. Divers, they were called. They had made a secret room where over the years, Jewish families, Allied pilots, Dutchmen who refused to work as slave laborers in factories in Germany, as well as people who worked for the Dutch resistance movement and needed to disappear for a while, had found a safe haven. He knew that in 1944 his grandfather was picked up by the Germans and taken to a concentration camp in Germany, from where he never returned. As an investigative journalist, he wanted to know what had happened to his grandfather, but he didn't get the answers he was looking for. There were rumors. Excuse me. There were rumors, but Jan wanted the truth. And after much research, he finally ended up at the archives in The Hague. The files of all Dutch people who had been on the wrong side during the war were kept in vaults, not available to the public. But Jan gained access to the files, and he got his answers. Jan came home with us that night, and we had a pleasant evening, even though our discussions evolved around the war and family stories. That night I was unable to sleep. Jan, his words kept me up. The archives in The Hague. I had a letter from them, as I had also written, to gain access to my mother's file. The day before my mother passed away, she told us that after the war, she was summoned to appear before a tribunal. She had to bike to Berlicum, a town 30 minutes away, and on the first day of the trial, she was stopped by two men who took her bicycle. She asked the officials at the tribunal if they could help her get her bicycle back, but they ignored her question. She was treated like a traitor and questioned for days and days about her late husband, who had been a member of the Dutch Nazi party, the NSB. We could tell the memories of the trial were still upsetting after all these years. We wanted to know what kind of questions they had asked and if there had been any repercussions, but she closed up after this rare glimpse into her past. My mother's words haunted me, and when we were back in Ontario, I started my own investigation. If there was a trial, there would be records. I started locally, but nothing showed up. Next, I went to the war archives in Leeuwarden, the capital of Friesland, and in one of my responses, it was suggested that I write to the archives in The Hague. I did, and I had finally received a letter in September stating that in order to view my mother's file, I had to show up in person. I struggled with the idea and hummed and hawed if I should show Jan that letter. Albert said, "It is your only chance, but it is up to you." In the morning I decided I was going to show him the letter. And he immediately told me that he wanted to help me get the information I was looking for. All I had to do is type a letter on the computer in which I gave my permission for Jan Braakman to read the file of Romkje van der Leij Noordenbos. He said he would often travel to The Hague for work, so he would be able to combine it. In April of the following year, a parcel arrived in the mail. In it, pages and pages from my mother's file. Jan had transcribed all the information from the tribunal, newspaper clips, and other wartime information regarding my mother's family. It was very emotional reading about my mother's past, a past I didn't know much about, except from rumors I had heard at school. And even though it was hard, and I felt heartbroken for my mother, a young widow with a 2.5-year-old and a big farm to manage, I was immensely grateful to Jan. All my life, I had wanted to know what she had gone through, how she had suffered during the final weeks of the war and the years after the Second World War. In 2015, we planned to visit Friesland, and I contacted Jan. I wanted to thank him for all the work that he had done for me, and Albert and I would like to take him and his family out for dinner. His answer came the next day. He had decided that he would take me to the archives in The Hague, and I could read my mother's file. And after, I could treat him to lunch. So on a sunny day in June, I arrived in The Hague and met Jan at the entrance of the archives. First, I got my picture taken and was fingerprinted. I had to hand in my coat, my purse, and my phone. Once inside the room, a security guard brought me the file. He handed me a piece of paper and a pencil, so I could take notes. I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone, and I had to make sure that all the pages were in the exact order I had found them. And then he sat across from me, watching me like a hawk. At one point, I did mix up a page, but he spotted it right away and made me correct it. It was a surreal experience. I read the whole file and was surprised how much Jan had been able to record. It must have taken him hours. We had lunch, and I told him how grateful I was that I finally had some answers to my many, many questions that my mother had taken with her when she passed away. And he told me the files would be open to the public in 2025. It was no coincidence that Jan had traveled all over Ontario in November of 2012 and ended up at our place. It was meant to be. Serendipity. Thank you.
Gord, you up there? Gord? Did you bring some, Gord? Come on up. Yes, we may be getting. Is Lisa still here? Did we get an update from John? Have you had a text? Oh, okay. So we're hoping he's in grand shape. Day surgery, yes?
Just before I left,
Oh.
something came up on Facebook,
Oh,
and he said, operation a success.
oh, good.
So I said, excellent, just in time for flow.
Right. So he posted already. Yes, Lisa had said that surgery went well. Okay. Good. Glad he's doing well. Gord, how are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Good.
Fine.
Good to see you again. Have you been out to the other dress rehearsal? Is your guitar
haven't
going?
been for a while, no.
Not for a while? Huh. Well, we're glad you came back, and thank you for coming out for the birthday.
Yeah,
Welcome.
it's good. I wrote a lyric for a song. Coolest gal I ever saw was walking 30 miles this side of Moose Jaw. She said she'd walk 1,000 miles to hear the words at the showroom. So we'll hear more of that. And I found a book of Canadian jokes, and I'll pass one or two on. I thought I had it marked here. I'm not as wise as I thought I was. Just a little aside, talking about Europe. I was over there one time. Took a train. No, I took a. I went to Milano, Italy, and in there I went up to the Val d'Aosta, driving out there, and it's in the north of Italy. And I stopped to get a hotel room, and the fellow that was at the desk, he didn't know English, and I don't know Italian. But we discovered that we each had some high school French. So that was lots of fun, yeah. We both saw the humor in it all. And anyway, just a little thought here. This is a little yes, a book definition of a Canadian. A Canadian is someone who thinks an income tax refund is a gift from the government, and on seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, assumes it is a train, and when given a compliment, always looks behind to see for whom it is intended. Holds the world's record for telephone use, probably listening to "Don't hang up, your call is important to us." There's some, says sorry when you accidentally bump into him. Anyway, that was just there's the whole book here. And I would like to read just a little bit out of a book called The Wine Writer. This is the story of William and Sarah. I won't read it all if you get tired of my reading. And the preface is that wine is popular on the covers of magazines, and it speaks about magazines, of course, having examples of wine on the cover. Anyway, William and Sarah share a bottle of wine in the lounge on the last train to Whistler. It will be their last wine together, so she thinks, as they near the resort that prospers by serving those who ski and need to be seen. She has her own plans. On the slopes on Cavern Ridge, Sarah quietly shusses up behind William as he admires the river below and pushes him off the ridge. It is so easy. Time passes. Unknown to her, he is not finished off, but he recovers. Friends tell him of her ski season plans, and he follows her to Mount Timothy, to Sun Peaks, to Mont Tremblant, to St. Moritz, to Innsbruck, and the Val d'Aosta, narrowly missing her each time as she is living in the moment. He follows her to the ski capitals of Romania, Azerbaijan, and Kazakhstan, to Mount Kosciuszko, then to the Andes of Chile, where again he misses her by only an hour as she departs for Hawaii and January skiing on the Big Island. William's next flight whisks him to Honolulu. From there, a jitney takes him to Hilo, where at last he finds her in a remote nearby après-ski He finds her in a remote nearby après-ski cabana bar sipping a rare imported Alexis Chalet, 1999, their favorite wine. He watches from the shadows of a giant banyan tree, then steps out boldly staring at her. She is panic-driven, but helpless. "Sarah," he coos, covering well his emotions, "it is so good to see you. What a strange coincidence meeting you here. Was it Whistler where we last saw each other?" "Oh, William, I thought you were dead." "Yes, how can I forget?" she says, mouth dry, nerves beginning to hum, beads of sweat budding on her brow, legs a-tremble. "Sarah, why?" His breathing becomes more rapid, and his hands shake. The memory of Whistler, his waking up covered in snow, skis akimbo, upside down on the mountain, his chasing her across continents, his first sight of her in months, all finally overcome him with emotion and trembling and lust. "Sarah," he struggles with the words. "Sarah, you've woken something in me I cannot describe. I must confess I've chased you around the world across 4 continents because I have really fallen for you." From this point, their relationship becomes a Sargasso Sea of muddled sardonisms and reminiscences of disputes about fermentation times for wine. During their conversation on the sets for their cover work, they had discussed in depth fermentation times for wines, and she had become so disillusioned at his constant fussing over them. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is not as full of joy. William and Sarah start over, and it is not long until they amicably disagree on which wine to have over breakfast. They avoid descending into the bitter chaos that can accompany tete-a-tete over which wines to serve with afternoon tea and little sandwiches ordered à la style de l'Hôtel Empress. At dinner, William chooses a Bullion 1999, a full-bodied and affable red noted for undertones of pear apple, dandelion, fireweed, vinyl, and lettuce. Cannabinol tones have been detected in the odd year. Bullion was the name of a pit of gold west of the Rocky Mountains in the early 20th century. Sarah chooses the Tete Jean Joly 2004, described as a perfect medium dry red, derived from a blending of Thompson and Fraser fruit. Their sommelier, Michel, notes also that the Joly can be tart, considering its double dryness, and that rolling it around the mouth for a few minutes releases the Indian paintbrush and salmonberry flavorettes and lights them on the tongue. The slight breath of balsa, he adds, comes from the cask in which the Joly reaches maturity. At this point, Michel detects a potential heated discussion and offers an excellent option that he promises to bring up from the cellar in a few moments. Unknown to William and Sarah, in the cellar he blends a half-liter of Bullion 1999 and a half-liter of the Tete Jean Joly for a perfect house red, which he serves in a 1-liter bottle centered on a silver tray. William and Sarah are very happy, and to celebrate become roaringly overwined and ask Michel to bring another liter. Fate intervenes. William and Sarah discover the sommelier's imposture and realize he has hoodwinked them. They plan vengeance as a cold plate. After dinner, William invites Michel to the lounge to share an old scotch with Sarah and him. Unknown to Michel, they will blend it into 3 milliliters of matured tincture d'extract de tomique at its most bitter. Later, with some concern, however, William and Sarah consider that because Michel is a sommelier, his educated nose can detect minuscule variations of tones and undercurrents. This may be a good moment to explain that while Michel is a wine sommelier, he has a knowledge of whiskey gained through various experiences. What he refers to as his Scottish bar incident was one such experience. It had been Michel's habit, while studying in Edinburgh, to visit McKinley's bar, where each morning he ordered a shot of 40-year-old Macnennick single malt Scotch whiskey. This was good for Mac, the bartender, as the 40-year-old Scotch was his biggest markup. One morning, Mark noticed Michel coming across the street toward the bar and realized he had no Macnennick at hand, and that the nearest bottle was in the damp cellar where he did not feel like going. When Michel ordered his regular shot of Macnennick, Mac slipped him an unremarkable 20-year-old. "Say, Mac," said Michel, "this is an unremarkable 20-year-old. I could be wrong, but I think I asked for a 40. Do you have a 40-year-old? "Sorry, my mistake," Mac said, and reached under the counter. He pulled out a handy 30-year-old and poured a dram. "Try this, Mish," he said, and handed Michel the new pour. Michel raised it to his lips. He remarked quietly. "It's nice, but with all respect, Mac, I believe I taste a 30-year-old. "Oh, sorry," said Mac. "My mistake again. Years ago, Thought you said 30. I'll just run down into the cellar and see if there's a 40 about. He went down into the cellar, returned with a 40 in hand, and poured a third shot. Michel sniffed it, touched it lightly to his lips, knocked it back. Ah, Mac, that's the true 40-year-old. He saluted Mac and in Mac's accent said, "You're a good man." "I know," Mac replied. Now, while this little exchange was going on, the young middle-managed William McDoof was sitting at a table patiently, intently watching Mac and Michelle and quaffing Mac Putty's ales. Over-aled, he headed off to the WC, carrying along his glass of ale, and soon returned to his table. At that time, Michelle also decided to visit the WC, which had become a habit of his. As he returned, McDo caught his eye and invited him to sit. I'm going to get into some Scottish accents here. Would you? Yep. So we'll leave that at that to continue that another time, because it goes on and on. All right, thank you. Oh, you're awfully kind.
Okay, Bio, did you decide if you were going to do a portion of your... You thought about it, but...
I thought about it, but I haven't thought about it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, yes. Deb, the birthday girl celebrator. Where is your handsome man tonight?
He's mentoring at the hub.
Mentoring? For space explorers? Or what does he do? He's an engineer, or he's
a machinist.
He's a machinist, so he's mentoring other younger machinists.
Well, no, it's interesting. It's the woodworking workshop at the hub.
Oh, yes.
And he's sort of helping them do CNC programming, computer numerical controlled, so sort of
Nice.
taking drawings and programming the machine to cut the wood.
Whoa,
Because
that's great.
it
yes.
turns out to be not that different from cutting metal, which is
No.
basically what he does.
Probably the same.
Yeah.
CNC. Well, good for him.
Yeah,
he's
he's-
handsome, he's handy, and he can cook, right?
Oh, God, he can cook, yeah.
Writers do have good lives sometimes, that's right.
Yeah.
Welcome, Deb.
Oh, thanks. For the Days I Stop Wanting a Body by Andrea Gibson. Imagine when a human dies, the soul misses the body, actually grieves the loss of its hands, and all they could hold, misses the throat closing shy, reading out loud on the first day of school. Imagine the soul misses the stubbed toe, the loose tooth, the funny bone. The soul still asks, why does the funny bone do that? It's just weird. Imagine the soul misses the thirsty garden cheeks watered by grief, misses how the body could sleep through a dream. What else can sleep through a dream? What else can laugh? What else can wrinkle the smile's autograph? Imagine the soul misses each falling eyelash waiting to be wished, misses the wrist screaming away the blade. The soul misses the lisp, the stutter, the limp. The soul misses the holy bruise, blue from that army of blood rushing to the wound's side. When a human dies, the soul searches the universe for something blushing, something shaking in the cold, something that scars, sweeps the universe for patience, worn thin, the last nerve fighting for its life, the voice box aching to be heard. The soul misses the way the body would hold another body, and not be two bodies, but one pleading God doubled in grace. The soul misses how the mind told the body, you have fallen from grace. And the body said, erase every scripture that doesn't have a pulse. There isn't a single page in the Bible that can wince, that can clumsy, that can freckle, that can hunger. Imagine the soul misses hunger, emptiness, rage. The fist that was never taught to curl, curls. The teeth that were never taught to clench, clench. The body that was never taught to make love, makes love like a hungry ghost digging its way out of the grave. The soul misses the unforever of old age, the skin that no longer fits. The soul misses every single day the body was sick, the now it forced, the here it built from fever. Fever is how the body prays, how it burns and begs for another average day. The soul misses the legs creaking up the stairs, misses the fear that climbed up the vocal cords to curse the wheelchair. The soul misses what the body could not let go. What else could hold on that tightly to everything? What else could hear the chain of a swing set and fall to its knees? What else could touch a screen door and taste lemonade? What else could come back from a war and not come back, but still try to live, still try to lullaby? When a human dies, the soul moves through the universe trying to describe how a body trembles when it's lost, softens when it's safe. How a wound would heal given nothing but time. Do you understand? Nothing in space can imagine it. No comet, no nebula, no ray of light can fathom the landscape of awe, the heat of shame, the fingertips pulling the first gray hair and throwing it away. I can't imagine it, the stars say. Tell us again about goosebumps. Tell us again about pain. Yeah, Andrea Gibson, if you're not familiar with them, a brilliant spoken word poet. She died not too long ago. And there's a wonderful doc about her life as a writer and living with another writer and dealing with cancer and life, and it's amazing. See Me in the Good Light. Come See Me in the Good Light, it's called, the doc, and it's on Apple.
Oh, what about Sylvia Plath and her lover? That didn't work out. What was his name? He was well known. But what was it? Teb something. Sardonicism, Helen. We're going to call on our librarian. It was like muddled sardonicism. What's sardonic mean again? Sardonic. I've forgotten. I used to know. Wry and ironic, yeah. Muddled. He ate too many olives. That's close. Thank you. Byron, come up, sir, who has been here from the very beginning. Not really, but pretty early. And also with Corey Blades. And who was the other fellow? I'm so embarrassed because he might be listening. Our friend that was a bookbinder as well. Do you remember that fellow? He came up here as well. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. There goes my memory. Anyway, this perspicacious youth here on my right has been a long treasured member of the Flow community. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thanks, Bill. I'm kind of, I've got these three things, but I'm beginning to think the order is important because I'm the last one here. So, shall I put the sublime more at the beginning and the ridiculous at the end, or will that be okay?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. From the sublime to the, oh, I always say it the other way, from the sublime to the ridiculous. I guess it's just my tendency. From the wow, I don't know. Okay, well, I'll end on. Okay, this first one, it's called Hendacasyllabics, and it's by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And it's hendacasyllabics means 11 syllables. So every line has 11 syllables, and the metric structure is the same on every line. So it's kind of something I've never, well, one day I may see if I can write one. So I don't know why he wrote this, but I think he was kind of challenged by critics. Critics must have been pissing him off. So here it is. Hendacasyllabics. O you chorus of indolent reviewers, irresponsible indolent reviewers. Look, I come to the test, a tiny poem, all composed in a meter of Catullus, all in quantity, careful of my motion, like the skater on ice that hardly bears him, lest I fall unawares before the people, waking laughter in indolent reviewers. Should I flounder a while without a tumble through this metrification of Catullus, they should speak to me not without a welcome, all that chorus of indolent reviewers. Hard, hard, hard it is, only not to tumble, so fantastical is the dainty meter. Wherefore slight me not wholly, no believe me too presumptuous, indolent reviewers. O blatant magazines, regard me rather, since I blush to belaud myself a moment, as some rare little rose, a piece of inmost horticultural art, or half coquette-like maiden, not to be greeted unbenignly. I thought that was remarkable for Tennyson.
Did it get well known or anything?
I don't think so.
An exercise.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Jesse Wells and his lyrics, the lyrics to his songs. And I heard a vocal coach listening to him sing one of his songs, and she said, she was laughing, she said, "You just gotta love 3 chords and the truth." and I thought, wow, 3 chords, I wonder what's behind that. So it turns out 3 chords and the truth originated with a country and western singer named Harlan Howard. And it's become kind of an idiomatic phrase ever since for whatever you want to use it for. So anyway, without even knowing what's going on here, here's Jesse Wells' lyrics to Simple Gifts. So because it is a song, there'll be a little bit of repetition. So let's just make of it what we will. Slouching toward the sky's extent from the ages of a waste, with something darker than a hope, something brighter than a fate, in the saddle of my tauntaun, is a sapphire-studded ring, and I keep it to remind me who I am and what I'll be. When true simplicity is gained, how much then is lost? I invested in them feelings. I paid dearly for them thoughts. In the cockpit of a spacecraft, unknown with an acquaintance, it occurred to me my mind was probably overdue for maintenance. I'd like to lay beneath the grass so I never leave a mark. I want to exhale oxygen like a tree out in the park. When true simplicity is gained, how much then is lost? I invested in them feelings. I paid dearly for them thoughts. When true simplicity is gained, can I then be self-assured? How I envy all them stones, they don't never say a word. On the calculus abacus in the wizard's high room chamber, Lord, I hope he's pulling beads for me. I want to count, but we all pout the same amount. When true simplicity is gained, how much then is lost? I invested in them feelings. I paid dearly for them thoughts. When true simplicity is gained, will I then be self-assured? How I envy all them stones. They don't never say a word. Yes. That's Jesse. Okay, so because it's the anniversary, I thought I'd go back to something that I did many years ago. I think I've done this here before. Hope not that long ago. But do you remember, Bill, the Valentine's Day Meals on the Ground fundraiser? Yes. And you asked me if I would write something for that. So, to help all those poor, unfortunate people. So here's what I wrote. And it's like a limerick epic. It's 10 different limericks strung together. Okay. While friends all around me were thriving, myself I was barely surviving. I had had some bad luck and now lived in my truck. I was down in the dumps, dumpster diving. Then I saw her at Meals on the Ground. My heart skipped and my mind spun around. Our eyes met as we dined and our souls intertwined. I rejoiced in the love I had found. My thoughts raced as I searched for a line, something sweet that would make her all mine. Then I swallowed my pride and sat down by her side and said this to my new Valentine. I look Italian, that's why they call me Gino. Got a smile just like Rudolph Valentino. When I get you alone, I'll be bad to the bone. Gonna mount you like a pent-up palomino. Well, what followed was shock and surprise. With a glare like two knives from her eyes. Not to mention the slap and the meal in my lap with the soup soaking through to my thighs. I stayed cool and I didn't get frantic. My plan B was to be more romantic. I went hunting for hours for chocolates and flowers to prove that my love was gigantic. At the drugstore, I looked for a card, sentimentally penned by a bard. I chose one that had puppies dressed up as two yuppies. Selecting a card was so hard. Trimmed my beard and the hairs in my nose, washed my pits and I wiped down my clothes. Then I donned my black hat. I looked dapper in that. Nothing now except to see how it goes. So I rushed to my dear Valentine with perfume and a bottle of wine. Though she did hold my hand, things did not end as planned. For her unreturned love I now pine. She adored the silk hanky from Dante's and the Book of Love Poems by Cervantes. There she stood all aglow. How was I going to know that she wouldn't like edible panties? There we go. Thank you.
Well done. Happy birthday. Okay. Three chords. That reminded me, Leanie and I have been listening to a lot of Todd Snyder's material lately. He passed away not that long ago, Leanie? A week ago. And one of the most wonderful storyteller, troubadour, songwriters that you'd ever want to meet. So look him up if you've never heard of him. But help me get this right. His quote was, "The difference between a freeloader and a free spirit is three chords." Was there something else to it? I want to add, and the truth. Three chords and the truth. It's Woody Guthrie, baby. Anyway, yes, a wonderful spirit who also loved words. Great storyteller. Thank you all so much for your additions and the support over many years. And I hope we'll keep going and you'll all come out and keep sharing. I think we'll be here. We will not be here in December because that's a pantomime. So we'll see you in January. Oh, are you away in December? Oh, okay. So we will see you in January. All the best in the holiday season, and come and see our pantomime, which makes no sense. It's called Santa in Space. It's not based on a traditional fairy tale, although some would argue Santa. And there's aliens in it, so it's going to be great. It's at the United Church, December 26th to the 31st. Tickets available online or at 10 Old Books. So hope we'll see you there. And make sure you come out and support all the events at the Duncan Showroom and mail in scads of money, right, Tim? Sure. Just send checks for your support and watching things online. Thanks, Longevity John, Dr. Ted Cadillac. My name is Bill Levity. Thank you so much for the love of words. We'll see you in January. Bye now.